Welcome back my YouTube channel Old Car Stories. Today, we take you on a journey back in time to explore history. This car, Dodge Omni 1986, United States of America, was in full swing with big hair, cassette tapes, and a love for boxy cars. But in the midst of the muscle cars and the rising imports, there was something a little different quietly humming down the suburban streets. A car that may not have turned heads at first glance, but had a special place in the hearts of many. The Dodge Omni. To the average onlooker, the 1986 Dodge Omni might have seemed like just another small hatchback. It wasn't flashy or powerful, and it didn't try to be. But its story is one of practicality, timing, and a bold attempt by Chrysler to meet the needs of a changing American market. The Omni was originally introduced in 1978, but by 1986, it had matured into a reliable compact car that had won over many families and first-time car buyers. It offered something that was still relatively new to American drivers: front-wheel drive in an affordable package, combined with decent fuel efficiency, which was crucial in the post-gas crisis era. Visually, the 1986 model stuck to the Omni's now familiar boxy design. It was compact but surprisingly roomy inside, with sharp lines and a simple but functional layout. It wasn't trying to be a fashion statement. It was meant to be a car for people who needed to get from point A to point B reliably and economically. Under the hood, the standard 1986 Dodge Omni came with a 2.2-liter inline-4 engine, producing around 96 horsepower. It wasn't built for speed, but for city driving and daily commuting, it got the job done without complaint. There was also a performance variant, the Omni GLH, short for Goes Like Hell, but the base model remained the most common sight in American driveways. Inside, the cabin was basic but functional. Bench-style seating, hard plastics, and a utilitarian dashboard were the order of the day. Still, it had everything you needed: heat, decent airflow, and a radio, if you paid a little extra. In its simplicity, it reflected a time when cars didn't need screens or touch controls to be considered good. Safety features were minimal by today's standards, but in 1986, the Omni did offer lap belts, padded dashboards, and decent crumple zones for a car its size. While it didn't boast anti-lock brakes or airbags, it was considered reasonably safe for a compact economy car of its time. One of the biggest selling points of the Dodge Omni was its affordability. It was one of the cheapest new cars you could buy in the United States, and it provided solid value for money. Its fuel economy, ranging from 25 to 35 miles per gallon, was another huge win for budget-conscious drivers. The Omni was also one of the first truly world cars. It was developed in collaboration with Simca, a French automaker under Chrysler Europe, and adapted for the American market. This gave it a slightly European feel in terms of handling and design, which helped it stand out from domestic rivals. Throughout the mid-80s, the Omni earned a reputation for being dependable and easy to repair. Parts were widely available, and the car's simple mechanical layout made it a favorite among DIY mechanics and students learning their way around an engine. It wasn't uncommon to see these cars run well past 150,000 miles with just basic maintenance. They may not have been glamorous, but they had heart. For many people, the Omni was their first car, their college commuter, or their family's second vehicle parked next to a bigger sedan or minivan. The 1986 model year wasn't dramatically different from previous years, but it had been refined. The build quality was slightly better, the emissions systems were improved to meet tightening regulations, and a few new trim options were offered. In many ways, the Omni was ahead of its time. It predicted the rise of the compact hatchback and paved the way for later cars like the Dodge Neon, and even helped American automakers realize that small, efficient cars could succeed in a market that had long favored size and power. Driving the 1986 Dodge Omni wasn't thrilling, but it was honest. The steering had a light, almost nimble feel. The suspension soaked up bumps adequately, and the car felt stable on the highway. It was a reminder that cars didn't always need to be exciting to be appreciated. They just needed to be useful. Many people who grew up in the 80s and early 90s remember the Omni as their first driving experience. Whether it was learning stick shift in a church parking lot or making weekend grocery runs with a parent. It's a car tied to memories more than milestones. Over time, the Omni disappeared from the roads as newer and more advanced vehicles took its place. But among collectors and enthusiasts of forgotten classics, it still holds a unique charm. Restored models pop up at local car shows, often sparking surprise and nostalgia. Today, the 1986 Dodge Omni is part of a slowly fading chapter in American automotive history. It wasn't the loudest or the fastest, but it filled a vital role. It was a car for the people, built during a time when affordability and function were king. As we look back on the cars that shaped a generation, the Omni deserves its spot, not because it was revolutionary, but because it showed up, did its job, and made life a little easier for the people who drove it. That's a story worth remembering.